Click the links to join the channel here over at SubScribes, now over at Odyssey. Thanks to all the new members over there. So the Acolyte, a show I've never heard of. Yeah, you've probably never heard of all the other Star Wars streaming shows. I think they have 8. You've heard of the Mando with Gina Carano, and that was in the news for, I don't know, what was that, 3 years ago or something? That was Star Wars' one chance, I think, to turn things around. They could have turned it around. That was the one show. That was the put the needle in the timeline. I think that was it. When the whole Gina Carano kerfluffle with Twitter, I think that was it. All you had to do was just make a show, have fun, lighten up, not take things so seriously. But no, they had to get on social media and virtue signal about Gina Carano. Carano had a tweet asking for people to be nicer to each other. It's like, yeah, you can interpret it any way you want, for sure. But Disney very publicly tried to humiliate her. That was effing bizarre. You look at Disney, you're like, this isn't the family-friendly. It's not just family-friendly company. You expect a certain level of professionalism from a company like Disney or any company in general. You want to know that you're dealing with adults who are reasonable and rational, and they know when to do things sub rosa. And that Twitter response to her was freaking bizarre. You never look at Disney the same way. It's just that's just not what Disney does. And then you have to look at Disney now and you go, oh yes, this is what Disney does. This is the new face of Disney. Anyway, so the Acolyte, Disney's streaming show, the lead, Amandla Stenberg, says Disney Plus series will honor the ethos of Star Wars and ideas around the Force. But wait, there's more. And also challenge them. Well, that's what does they call it? The death knell? What does that mean? They ring the bell to announce that there's going to be a bubonic plague coming through town. I almost said black plague, but that would have been a dog whistle. So Star Wars is bravely subverting expectations. Yes, because people expected Star Wars. That means the 77 to 83 vibe of those first 3 movies. Because, oh, well, those were like problematic or like whatever. Can you just not be a soy boy for? No, soy boys are like problematic. These people like they soy boy outrages them because then you look at their profiles, but you're like, but this is what a soy boy would say because you look exactly like that open mouthed soylent. Just I can't. It's really hard not to say the words I need to say on them. So what I do now is just make 2 videos for Odyssey and Rumble where I can say the slurs. Anyway, so people expected Star Wars, and this is not Star Wars. So yeah, you've subverted those expectations. A lot of what Hollywood is doing is trying to fly before they learn how to walk. The master of the simple story, tell that simple story well. Try to do that. And you might find yourself writing these stories for 50 years and you go, oh, I never really felt like I've mastered this story. So I just kept telling simple stories as good as I possibly could. And, you could be very successful doing that. But these people, I almost used the slurs for J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson. I don't know if I can use those slurs anymore because they might be estophobic. They're trying to, no, we're going to take something great. We're going to stand on the shoulders of giants, and we're going to just hop off the shoulders and start digging a hole. We're going to subvert expectations. Like, all you had to do was take the original stories and just continue them, give people what they want. But that's not what these bullshit propagandists are into. They're into this, and so you ended up with Disney Star Wars, which Anyway, so some pronoun woke SJW chick is doing they them pronouns is doing Star Wars, and she's gonna She-Hulk outrage the Chad Hugo Boss. They always have this straw man version of like, yeah, Hugo Bosses are sitting around and they're watching. They said that was She-Hulk, so we're gonna outrage them, but they're just not gonna watch. Oh, I didn't think of that. So did you get a second series? No, it got canceled. How did like The Witcher do, or Willow? Willow's the one that made in the 80s with I think Val Kilmer. Fantastic movie. How did that do? Oh, not that well. Okay, so maybe stop trying to outrage the Chad Hugo Boss. Like, why would you think these far right-wing people are watching Coomer consumer comic book movies? That's for a lot of left-wing dudes who get outraged over the least little thing. I would almost wanted to show you a picture from Twitter, but I think that'll be a little bit petty, so I'll put it in Telegram. Anyway, so some pronoun chick is trying to outrage us and whoever her handlers are. She's just a long line of useful idiots. the thing is, we explain, or I explain, why diversity is cancer, and then they say, well, listen, Nazi, the show is not for you. Okay, challenge accepted. The show apparently is not for many people because I don't think any one of these 8 Star Wars shows has caught fire. So so if the show's not for anyone, what does that mean? How come the SJWs aren't watching this show? For all this like feminist crap they put out, how come the women aren't tuning into these action adventures? Oh, because women don't like action adventures. They kind of like romance and family-centered relationship type of stuff. You can have a romantic-centered action adventure like in actually the original Star Wars, which is why it was lightning in a bottle because you had, well, one, you had fantastic actor chemistry. I was thinking like, people talk about if you substituted Kurt Russell for Harrison Ford, it kind of still would work. And I thought, yeah, you could substitute characters, but the story was just a simple story and it had romance in it, and it did really well because it just gave the audience what they wanted. And it was a higher budget science fiction film. But they don't do this kind of stuff. They go, okay, so like the BLT community is say 2% in the real world of the community, or say it's 5% of people identify somewhere as some kind of gay or something like this. Okay, great, fine, fair enough. But what's the Venn diagram overlap between the gay community and the people who are going to go to the movies and pay for this? Because you're in a business, as the guy who did Bros, Eichenwald or something, found out when he made some gay movie that was too gay even for the audience. What's the Venn diagram overlap between Star Wars or these kind of movies and you're putting, space lesbians riding horses kissing in the background with the Eternals has got like My Two Dads type of stuff? Because I kind of think the Venn diagram is small. The overlap is small. Where are you excluding more people than you're bringing in? That's a nice way to say what I'm trying carefully not to say. Because they're not into seeing that kind of stuff. Well, we edited out for China and the Middle East. Oh, well, can we get the edited version so we don't have to see the 2 gay space cowboys eating pudding? No. You're like Hugo Boss if you don't want to see it. You're not tolerant. So, but the rest of the world, they're not tolerant either? Well, it's the soft bigotry of lowered expectations. We just don't ask anything of them. Okay, I see. that's how our slur all this stuff is. Anyway, so she's got pronouns, and that's a hard no from me. The worst part about Hollywood was when they got to Twitter. Social media ruined these people. I almost said another slur in there. Because you see them behind the scenes, and you learn that they're all just R slur, F slurs. So I'm not into any more pox, walks, furry. I meant to say bundles of sticks, but no offense. Other kin of color type of whatever is the soup du jour. No shave side of the head. Here's speaking of shave side of the head. What timing? I've actually read these. It's called something Republic, Star Wars Republic, the comic books. They're horrible. They've got like a dozen, and they're all horrible. It's all girl power, and it's all POC girl power too. And in fact, one of them, the one of the best art, to be fair, had a blonde-haired, green-eyed guy who guess what, guys? Guess what? He was the antagonist, and the little pox girl was the protagonist. Oh, can we get a comic where you switch that around? What are you, some kind of Hugo Boss? Yes? I mean, well, if I say yes, will they get me the comic? Like, no, these are not for you. Yeah, they're not for anyone. Anyway, pronouns are lame. Shave side of the head is really lame. Girl power is lame. Feminism, diversity, that's all cringe. R slur, G slur, K slur propaganda. How do I say this? I don't want to be lectured to by globalist idiots in gated communities who are insulated by wealth. And there's no way to make any show with POCs in it. Don't get me wrong, I could write a POC character, no problem, but SJWs can't because they're terrified of anyone above them on the Frankfurt School hierarchy. And everything they make is absolute dog feathers, and there's no turning this ship around. These people are fully drinking the Kool-Aid. So this is, and the thing is, like I said, you can go on social media if you want to know how these people really think. Mark Cuban's tweets are fascinating. They should all be read and archived. It's a fascinating look behind the scenes at some of the wealthiest, most powerful people on Earth and how anti-white they are, how anti-nation, anti-Christian, anti-family, anti-natal. It's a study. It should be a study, but it wouldn't be taught in any university. Anyway, so this is Disney. And you're going to see them continue to lose money. And I think you'll see Hollywood shrink, but that doesn't mean that Hollywood in general is going to lose money, because what do you do if you're losing a customer base? Well, if you're not going to change the narrative with this really woke SJW stuff, you can charge more for the product. If you can find an audience that'll pay more for it, and you might for a little while, and what Hollywood will turn into is something closer to, stage plays, musical type of stuff, where they go pay $300 to go see I don't know, a musical type of thing. I'm trying to think of a play. What was that? Spielberg did a play that was a takeoff of Romeo and Juliet. It was like a takeoff of Romeo and Juliet. Oh, no, that wasn't a play. That was a movie, wasn't it? But you get the idea. West Side Story. That kind of stuff. Like people pay. I don't know what this tickets off. $300 to go see the Nutcracker type of stuff. Actually, I saw the Nutcracker in San Francisco. It was a great play. I saw who was that guy? Hal Holbrook. Do the Mark Twain thing, because I think I had some of his records. Fantastic Mark Twain. Hal Holbrook. He was also in that Stephen King movie with that hot Italian chick, Swamp Thing. I think Hal Holbrook was in that. Where's it going with this? The thing is, you can just charge more for the product and make it like a what's it? A niche product? Is it foyer or foyer? So where the coastal wealthy go to get lectured to by their globalist puppet masters. So is this the idiot who said you're leaving money on the table by not making everything diverse, like United Colors of Bennington, Larry Fink checklist, cancer? These chicks are all kind of interchangeable. So what's going on in Hollywood in general is you've got participation trophy generation people, affirmative action, diversity hires making movies. It's just the most toxic people on earth. It's the same people who write for Tumblr, the Mary Sue, that the alt-left mentality of everything is hate, and they just hate you. They hate Christians. They hate Natal. The concrete thinking, unable to fathom that different reasonable adults might think differently. They've been the Hillary Clinton outfit, right? It's, I don't know what they call it. The clothes for fat chicks, basically. So they've been brainwashed to think that their alt-left view is the only polite. What's that store that sells the fat chicks? It's like, I want to say Kelly Moore, but that's a painting store. It's I mean, we could just like paint fat chicks. Anyway, the thing is, they think there's like only one worldview, and I was going to say it's a rational or logical one in their mind, but that's not accurate, because they don't engage in logical argument. Everything for them is appeal to authority and emotion. And I don't know if you saw that. Taylor Lorenz at the Washington Post talked to Libs of TikTok, and some people were think that was what do you call that, a show, a whole some kind of like glow ops type of thing, because the interaction was too smooth between the two of them, like they were both playing roles. Anyway, the thing is, Taylor Lorenz was talking, like, Lives of TikTok is showing this girl, like, so this is a BJ, and this is, backhole loving, and you're not loving, there's no love involved in this. This is what you're teaching to kids, and she was holding up her phone and showing them these horrific images. And Taylor Lorenz is just wide-eyed, and she goes, well, I'm not a sex expert. And you go, well, is there an expert in some, like, degeneracy, teaching degeneracy, this Weimar levels of Magnus Hirschfeld degeneracy? Hey, Candace Owens. Credit to Candace Owens, Candace Woffen, she might be our girl. There's no expert in this degeneracy to kids, because if you're saying that, oh, well, there's someone that has a PhD at some university that's accredited, all that does is invalidate the accreditation process, the university in itself. If that's your appeal to authority, you just demolish the entire foundation, because the whole thing is just fruit of the poison tree. Anyway, there's this other article I'm gonna do for subscribe. Well, I guess I can show you the article. News for Odyssey and the other channels, where this left-wing nutter mom who's raising boys, who she's doing her best to brainwash into hating themselves. And the article goes through her thinking, and it's so concrete. Where the left used to call themselves liberal, and that was a long time ago, about challenging authority and questioning anything. You look at them and you go, so can we question anything? Can we take both sides of all these discussions, and like, can you argue the opposite side of your position? They look at you like you're crazy, because these people, this participation trophy generation, was taught what to think, and that any views that are not in accord with theirs are intolerant, istophobic views. They really cannot comprehend. They don't have the emotional strength to take both sides of an issue. It just doesn't exist in them. They look at you with that benzodiazepine, box wine stare and go, but there are no two sides to these stories. There's only one approved side, the government side. Any other side is wrong think. That's anyway. This chick's article, you can go through and read the archives, archive everything. It really doesn't occur to these people that diversity of thought is possible because things are complicated. Anyway, who cares about Star Wars? If you're watching Star Wars, can I say this? How 15 minutes into it, you shouldn't be watching any of this stuff. These people are all demons who go to islands to have kids, that kind of Epstein type of stuff. These are just monsters in human costumes, basically. So you really can't support any of these things. So they've got Star Wars has got like 8 streaming shows. Mandalorian was the first one, and then Acolyte and Andor's, and there's a bunch of others, and they're just effing horrible. The last one I think that came out was with the girls with the short haired, purple haired girls on the space motorcycle type of things, and it was just cringe on top of cringe. It was what like 30-year-old cat ladies think is cool because they read a Star Wars comic book once that they didn't buy. They got it from their brother or something. The thing is, they all suck. And the one guy who was doing, I think Andor was doing this interview, and he was surprised to find the ratings were so low. And he said, like, yeah, we're chasing the audience. Yeah, well, I mean, because everything else associated with Star Wars chased them away. And even that Andor Star Wars, there was this sub-theme of, like, the British were the bad guys and countries and nationalism was bad. And it was a very thin metaphor for, I think, the British. And it's like, yeah, you guys, we see what you're doing. You're a bunch of globalist parasites, and you're trying to push this theme. It's like the audience isn't children. They see what's going on. You've got this. The whole thing felt anti-white. I mean, you can watch the first couple. It's hard to get. Oh, so even in the first, I think the first episode of that, it's like the brown guy has to delete 2 British guys. It's just dark. It's just dark what these people are doing. Anyway, yeah. So congratulations, Star Wars, for subverting expectations. I'm going to do this for Odyssey. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks to everyone over at SubScribestar in the Odyssey member section, and I will see you guys on next episode.